And welcome on in to another episode of Getting Well with Terry and Friends. I'm Terry. That's Ryan. We may have Nick possibly joining us here in a bit. We will see. But we are ready to break down Saturday sports. I have a few NFL plays, I have a CFL play, and then I have baseball plays for today. I guess we'll start off with yesterday. The show on our best bet segment, we went 14-3 yesterday overall in the dogs, the best bets, everything over under. So an excellent day for the show. Myself personally, 9-0-1. So my one push was Springer over 1.5 bases, who did not play yesterday. So I was on one push, but otherwise 9 wins. It was a great day for me. It was a great day for the show. Here's Nick. He swept the board on the show yesterday, 4-0.
Oh, that's right. I did. That's right. My bad.
Yeah. So we'll try to keep it going right here in this one. And we'll start with the Saturday NFL preseason. I'm going to bring up the first game that I'm involved in. I'm involved in 3 here. I'll quickly go over the odds. You can find Vegas basically around plus 100 to minus 109. Miami minus 115 to minus 120. 41 and 41 and a half. I see a 40 and a half. So a couple points, point and a half here difference. For me, I really like what I've seen from Vegas in the preseason so far. So I'm taking a small stab with them on the money line here at plus 100. Not going to go into a whole lot of detail with my picks. Obviously, it's preseason, so these are smaller plays for me. But I do like Vegas in the first game. You shouldn't see any of Vegas's starters in this game, but that doesn't exactly worry me here in this spot. Going into the second game, Pittsburgh and Jacksonville. You can find Jacksonville minus 125 to minus 159. You can find Pittsburgh plus 104 to plus 122. 41 and a halfs, 42s. And for me, Jacksonville is going to be Trevor Lawrence should play the entire first half, for what I'm hearing, or most of the first half of this game. For me, Jacksonville first half money line, I got it minus 118. I don't want to take them full game. Obviously, minus 125 is the best odds you can get for Jacksonville full game. I don't know what's going to happen in the second half, so I'll trust Trevor Lawrence here and the Jaguars to be winning after the first half. So I took the money line in case of a push. So I have that as well. And then the final game is my Minnesota Vikings here are hosting San Francisco. It's funny, these two teams have actually been practicing together. So they've been having joint practices.
That's genuinely the case for preseason.
Okay. So they've been working together, or I guess not working together, but they've been working out together in this one. For me, I guess San Francisco plus 175 to plus 162. Minnesota's minus 200 to minus 233. 39 and a half, 38s, or 38 and a half, 39 and a half. No real opinion for me on the side. I really don't think Minnesota should be this big of favorites without their starters in the lineup. So I would say, I guess, San Francisco plus the points, but I'm on the under 39 and a half here. Both of Minnesota's backup quarterbacks are not very good. I don't expect much offense from the Minnesota side, and San Francisco will not have their starters in either when it comes to quarterback and most of their offensive starters as well. So for me, it's an under spot in this one. And those are my 3 picks in the NFL preseason. I'm 2-1 so far on the year. So we'll see what happens here. Just dipping my toes in NFL preseason. Ryan, today's Saturday NFL action. Is there anything that you like in the NFL?
Yeah, there's 2 plays I like, and they're different games than the ones you mentioned. And I also advocate for smaller half-unit plays for preseason football. The first game I'm looking at is the Commanders and the Chiefs. And head coach Ron Rivera is saying he's concerned about playing Carson Wentz because of the state of the offensive line. They've only have 2 healthy tight ends. They're without 3 guards. And I think that says a lot. If the head coach is unwilling to put his starter out because he's worried he's going to get killed, that tells me a lot. J.D. McKissick is also unlikely to play for the Commanders. So I'm backing the Chiefs minus 4.5 in this game. The other game I'm looking at is Tennessee and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is coming off a shorter week because they played a Thursday night game. The Titans played a Thursday night game, so they have a longer rest. We'll not see either quarterback. No Brady, no Tannehill. Tampa Bay's without a bunch of skill position players: Godwin, Evans, Perryman, Gio Bernard, Kenyon Barner. Tennessee won this matchup 34-3 last year, so I'm just looking at the precedent for that as well. So I like Tennessee minus 3 in that game, and those are my 2 picks for today.
All right, that's good. I'm on 3 games. You like 2 different ones. Nick, are you on any of the other games that we didn't talk about by chance?
I got to 5 games today, and it's kind of a theme to also last night. Last night went 2-1, which now we're on the site 15-4 to start the preseason. So it's been good to us so far. And we're rolling with similar thoughts to last night, and that's that after a 13-3 over week number 1, we're targeting unders week number 2. We had all 3 unders last night, and we have 5 unders tonight, or for today's games. I like the Colts and Lions under the total of 39 is what we got it at. Titans and Buccaneers under 38.5. Chargers and Cowboys under 37.5. Dolphins and Raiders under 41.5 and under 42 with the Bills and the Broncos. And it's pretty plain and simple is because I believe that there's value here with unders after a massive over week number 1. If we had like a normal week number 1, I have a feeling these 42s and like the 44 we're seeing in that Kansas City game would be more like 33s and a half, 35s, maybe a 36.5 here and there. So I think we're getting some massive value here on some unders because overinflated totals after overs hit like absolutely crazy last week. I think we're going to see a good regression here for unders. So those were the 5 plays that I do like in the preseason. Unders in the Colts game, the Titans game, the Chargers game, the Dolphins game, and the Bills game.
Is there a reason you didn't take the Vikings under, or because that's the under I'm on? So I'm like, I was hoping one of them would be yours.
You're good. I would lean towards an under in that game. I lean towards the Niners in that one as well, plus 4.5. We really didn't touch any sides this week, and I really just wanted to focus on 5 games for totals here. And I think that Minnesota game was probably the number 6 play. Maybe the number 7 play behind that Chiefs under was also something that caught our eye at 44. But those are just the 5 we got to.
All right. We'll go on to the CFL. I did not get involved in the first game yesterday with the Elks. Nick, you did, and you cashed nicely.
Oh, yeah, that was pretty easy.
Yeah, I got involved in the second game. We were against each other. I won this battle, but we'll definitely see what happens in the next disagreement because you've been winning them as recently. So going on to today, we won't have a disagreement here. When it comes to the first game, Hamilton-Montreal, that's a pass for me. I have 0 interest in betting either of these teams. Hamilton first half plus a half is minus 122. So if they're tied or winning, you would win that. That would be kind of a lean for me, but not getting involved in that one. Calgary, Toronto. As I said on Dave's show last night, make sure to check that out. Picks from Dave on YouTube. We kind of capped some of these games for tomorrow. And basically, when we talked about the CFL, I said you want to take Western teams against Eastern teams. Because the Western teams are much better than the Eastern teams. We have Calgary minus 2.5 on the road here in Toronto. I'm on Calgary minus 2.5 for a full unit. I like the Stampeders here. Yes, they had a heartbreaking loss to BC last week, and a couple losses to Winnipeg before that. But Winnipeg and BC are the two best teams, in my opinion, in the CFL. Calgary, number 3. So there's nothing wrong with losing to the two best teams. Otherwise, they've played pretty well. And now they get to face Toronto, a team that I guess is one of the best teams in the East. But that doesn't say very much. The East teams are pretty bad. So I like Calgary on the road, -2.5. I want to talk anybody off going to the first 5 there as well, because I do think Calgary, after the last couple weeks, comes out here kind of strong in the first half. So I may actually double up and add first half as well. Ryan, no CFL action, right?
No CFL plays for me.
All right. Nick, I know you're on some CFL. What do you think here?
Yeah, you mentioned the Hamilton first half plus a half. I got it last night at +1. And I mentioned that on Dave's show. And that line has actually moved towards a pick 'em on my book. -108, -108 for the first half money line there. Hamilton, pretty simple. They're my top ranked team in the East personally. I think they have that caliber from being the back-to-back Eastern Division champions to a point where if they have to place Toronto or Montreal in the playoffs, I think they can get those wins. And with them being the top-ranked East team, I have 4 teams ranked above them with Saskatchewan, BC, Winnipeg, and Calgary. So yeah, that's how highly I think of the East as well. That I think that the best East team is probably ranked 5th in the league. So yeah, I do like Hamilton in this game. I think they're my favorite East team this year, and they're just a first half team for me though. First half +1. And then as we were advocating here, fade East teams versus West teams. We did it last night, or I did that last night. It's not the high class of the West playing the high class of the East, but it was Edmonton getting a easy win as a 4.5-point dog against Ottawa. And for me, I'm going to go back to doing that again this game. Calgary, -2.5 is what I got it at here on my book. It's now with 3. I just think that this Calgary team is still far superior than any East team, including Toronto. And this is a spot here where they're going to come in pissed off of blowing that lead against BC, because they should have won that game against BC last week, and all things considered. But give me the Calgary Stampeders -2.5. Also, one more thing to touch on with the Montreal game. Looking to fade Montreal following their massive upset win against the undefeated 2-time defending Grey Cup champ Winnipeg Blue Bombers. So I think that's a Hamilton spot 100% there.
All right. For this Stampeders game, if you start to see -3, -3.5s, I would maybe hold off the -3.5, and I would go to the first half. So that's my if you can't get -2.5, -3, if it's only -3.5 at your book, I would go take the first half -1 or whatever, 1.5, because I think Calgary comes out strong. That's my opinion there. We'll jump to baseball, and of course we are going to talk about this game, Toronto and the Yankees. You can find the Toronto for +155 to +166. The Yankees are -185 to -200. 7.5s and 8s available in this game here. A couple things to say about this one. So on the other show a couple days ago, the Jays team total was at 3.5. And I said, even with the Jays not hitting very well right now, their team total should not be 3.5. Of course, they cashed that for me. Now it's team total over 3, which I got for -115 for a unit and a half last night. For me, I would take the over 3.5 as well. I just wanted to get the 3 because 3.5. There is a kind of a big difference there, especially in some low-scoring games. So I took the team total over 3, and then Toronto money line at +165. The Yankees should not be -200 against the Jays in this spot. Yes, they have their ace on the mound in Garrett Cole. Toronto, Mitch White. Mitch White hasn't been too bad. He's still young. He still is getting used to being in Toronto. So this is a big test for him here against the Yankees, but the Yankees aren't hitting. So for me, it is Toronto money line, Toronto team total over 3, and plus 460 on Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to hit a home run. I think that is absolutely disrespectful that Vladdy is plus 460. He hit 3 home runs off of Garrett Cole in the first meeting in New York earlier this year. It should not be plus 460 in this spot. Yes, Garrett Cole coming off 2 good games, but before that, he was getting smashed hard. I expect him to pitch pretty well, actually, in this game, but he does give up home runs, and all he needs to really do is give up 1 or 2 home runs, and I think the Jays team total over cashes. So that is what I'm on for this game. Ryan, Blue Jays, Yankees, what do you think on this one?
Well, there's no play for me on this game. I think it's a Yankee spot. I think they win this game, but it's too expensive, and I'm staying off. One thing that did stand out is that Mitch White has not won a game, from as far as I can tell. He's not won a game with won a decision with the Blue Jays, and also not with the Dodgers, which I think is somewhat alarming.
All right. Nick, Blue Jays, Yankees, what do you think here?
Yeah, this game, I went to bed thinking I was going to bet one thing, and then looking at more information in the morning, I end up flipping sides. I was all ready to bet the Yankees -1 in this game, around -120. And then I took the look where the market was moving, which was not in the favor of the Yankees. And I'm also starting to look at, because I found Fangraphs, they have a page where they give implied odds of teams to win a game. And I found there was 5 teams where their numbers give them at least a 15-cent edge over what the book offered. One of those 5 teams today was the Toronto Blue Jays at plus 164. I believe they have them projected around, what was the number here that they had them projected at? Was a -145 is what the or plus 145 is what the Blue Jays should be, and we're seeing them at plus 166. So between that and the way the market was moving, pointing me towards the Blue Jays, and I ended up siding with them here in the first 5 innings at plus 160. So I'm looking to back teams that have the line value. There's a couple of line value teams that I did back today, and there was a couple of line value spots that kept me off of some sides. So for me, Blue Jays plus 160 was the in the first 5 innings for this game.
All right. I know you said there was line value on the Jays yesterday, and
Yes.
they obviously won that yesterday. How did yesterday go with the line value?
The line value went 2-4. The Jays did get the win. They were down 0.76 units because they did cash a nice plus 295 on the Washington Nationals at the end of the night with that. So it went 2-4. Honestly, if I would have been betting those games, it would have been a little bit less because I would have taken the Giants run line rather than the Giants money line because it showed value on the Giants in general. So, yeah, I went 2-4 yesterday, down 0.76 units. It's something I'm tracking that I'm probably going to use next year.
All right. We'll move on along to this one here. We have the Texas Rangers in Minnesota facing the Twins. You can find Texas plus 140 to plus 158. Minnesota minus 170 to minus 190. 8.5s right across the board. And this one here, we have Chris Archer, a pitcher that I backed quite a bit at the beginning of the year. Despite him only going 4 innings every game, he was pitching pretty well for the most part. He's definitely tailed off here more recently. Glenn Otto, on the other side, has started to improve a bit in his last 3 starts against Oakland, Houston, and the White Sox. But I think we see the real Glenn Otto in this one, and I think he gets hit here. I took the Twins team total over 4.5 at plus 100 last night. The Twins have been hitting righties pretty well, hitting overall pretty well. And I think coming into Minnesota is not a good spot for Glenn Otto in this one. I don't really want to back Minnesota as a side, just because, as I said, Chris Archer has been getting hit. If anything, I would go to the over 8.5 in this one. If you're not comfortable with the Twins team total, I would look at the over 8.5. I think we get runs on both sides in this game. Ryan, Rangers, Twins, what do you think here?
Well, I'm on this game, and I'm on the over 8.5. And the reason is that the advanced stats for both of these pitchers show some pretty significant red flags. Glenn Otto is one of these, has a negative WAR. He's got an astronomical 4.96 walks per game. Chris Archer also has some pretty significant red flags: 4.48 walks per game, a low ground ball rate of 41%. His FIP is higher than his fielding independent ERA is higher than his ERA. You don't really think of the Twins as having much in terms of bats, but they're now number 6 in the league versus right-handed pitching. So there's some bats there, but I think the play is on the over based on the weakness of both starting pitchers.
I like it. Nick, Rangers, Twins, what do you think of this one?
Don't really have too much of a thought on this game here. This is not a game I got to. The projected line for this one was 155 for the Twins, which they are 166, and it's 153 on the other side for the Rangers. So the line, the bookmakers priced this game correctly. There's no value on either side here for me. I passed on this game. I didn't really have a feel for it.
All right, nothing wrong with that. Going on here, BetStamp, use code WILD to find the best odds for whatever you are betting. I'll use the Vladimir Guerrero Jr. home run as an example. Only one spot had it at plus 460. Other places had it at plus 390. So that's a 70 cents difference. So definitely do your line shopping. And follow me at Let's Go Wild Picks on BetStamp. Use code WILD when signing up. Follow Nick and Tim at ESB. Follow Dave at Picks from Dave. And follow Ryan on Twitter as well. As always, all of our Twitter links will be in the description below, so you can follow us on the different platforms. We'll go on to Seattle and Oakland. I was on the over 7.5 yesterday. Basically, Gonzalez has been getting hit. Irvin has been getting hit as well, especially by Seattle. So I was on the over 7.5 yesterday. And I took the over 7 last night in this one here. So you can find Seattle minus 182 to minus 200, Oakland plus 150 to plus 165, 7.5s now right across the board. I would still take it at 7.5. Obviously, I am happy I got 7 yesterday, but Logan Gilbert has been getting hit a lot recently. Texas, 5 hits, 3 earned runs. Yankees, 10 hits, 7 earned runs. Yankees, 7 hits, 6 earned runs. 4 walks in the game. First game against the Yankees, 4 walks in his last game against Texas. Yes, Oakland obviously does not have the offense the Yankees or Texas does. But they can be scrappy at times and find ways to score. Caprillion on the other side. He has been not too bad lately. 6 hits per game, going around 5 innings, 1 to 3 earned runs, 1 to 3 walks, 4 to 6 strikeouts. He's been pretty consistent his last few games here. But Seattle has been playing pretty well. His last 3 games were against Texas and the Angels twice. I think Seattle has a better offense than both those teams. So I'm going right back to the over. I got the over 7 at minus 112. Right now, you can find the over 7.5 minus 102. If you see that go to plus money, then I would definitely jump on it. I like runs again in this one. Ryan, Mariners Athletics, what do you think of this one?
Ultimately, this game was a pass for me. I did see the 7 that when it opened and was surprised how low it is. And Mariners have been hitting overs with some regularity. Although both teams tend to be under teams and don't have a whole lot of offensive firepower. And Oakland is a place where the long ball just kind of dies. So it's not a great ballpark for the over. I usually look for places to fade Caprillion. Logan Gilbert has not been good. I think he's got a 9 ERA in August or something like that. and he hasn't had a win in quite some time. So in the end, this was a pass for me. I lean over and I lean Mariners in some capacity.
All right. Nick, Mariners Athletics. So you get this one?
Yeah, this game did jump out at me, and I do like a side for this one. This is one of the 5 teams that does have full line value according to Fangraphs, and it is on James Kaprielian and the Oakland Athletics at +2 or +165, I believe it's at. All right, yeah, +165. I grabbed him in the first 5 innings at +155. I think Kaprielian is better than people think he is, and his advanced numbers show that we should see decent from him. So this is one of those spots here where I do like James Kaprielian, and I see line value here with the Oakland Athletics, so I took a shot with them here as dogs in this spot at +155 in the first 5 innings.
Hey, can't talk you off that. Kaprielian has been pretty good. If I was going to be betting a side, which I'm definitely not, I would kind of lean towards Oakland, despite Seattle being the hot team here. We'll go on along to this one here. This team has been making me money, and that's the St. Louis Cardinals in Arizona facing the Diamondbacks. You can find St. Louis -142 to -155. Arizona +120 to +130. Nines, 9.5 available in this one here. For me last night, I got the over 9, -105. Right now it's -118 for the best over 9. And I got St. Louis team total over 4.5 at -124. This Cardinals team is hitting lefties, and Bumgarner has been giving up runs quite a bit. In his last game against San Francisco, 8 hits, 6 earned runs. Against Pittsburgh, 8 hits, 5 earned runs. And at home against Colorado, 10 hits, 4 earned runs. He's been getting hit a lot. And now he has this really hot St. Louis team coming in to face him. You might ask, why aren't you on St. Louis then in this situation? And that's because Dakota Hudson, not really one of the few St. Louis pitchers that I really don't like to back in this situation. Getting up his numbers here. So I went with the over. I think St. Louis will definitely get runs off of Bumgarner, and I think we can get some runs on the other side here. Dakota Hudson, 4 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks in his last game in Colorado. 7 hits, 3 earned runs against the Yankees, 4 hits, 2 earned runs against Washington. So he hasn't been pitching too bad, but definitely not trustworthy in this spot. So no real side opinion for me. I lean with the Cardinals, but I just took their team total over and the full game over. I may get to some props here as well. Goldschmidt, shout out to Cubano yesterday in the chat, said Goldschmidt home run. And of course, he did hit one yesterday. And then Cubano messaged me privately earlier and said he thinks that Goldschmidt can get 2 home runs today. So we will see what happens. I'm probably going to be adding Goldschmidt home run. He's really good against lefties, and Bumgarner is struggling. Ryan, Cardinals, Diamondbacks, what do you think in this one?
I agree with a lot of your thoughts, and I didn't get to the window with this. The issue with me is there's 2 pitchers I like to fade here, and especially Madison Bumgarner. And he's been fading him has been profitable for me. I'd like to continue that. So I think the lean I have is the Cardinals team total over 4.5. But I think probably the Cardinals win this game. I'm just not getting there with a bet.
All right. Nick, Cardinals, Diamondbacks. What do you think of this one?
Got nothing. I'm not a huge fan of this game at all. Looking at the implied line, says St. Louis -120, and there's about 10 cents of value here, I believe, with the Arizona Diamondbacks in this spot. But other than that, it's not really too much of an interest for me.
All right. I did a great job picking today's games, didn't I?
Oh, yeah, you did an amazing job.
It's all good. Hey, I did pick. Hey, Seattle, Oakland. I did pick some bums here, but it's all good. That's why last pitch exists, so we can go through other games on the slate. For me, I've given out everything that I am on today, but I guess I'll quickly give out opinions on other games. Team who must not be named against the Phillies, doubleheader, obviously passes in both games, didn't even look at them. Angels, Detroit, again, a pass. Didn't really have any leans with that either. Brewers, Cubs, again, a pass. Most of the games here, a pass for me. Boston, Baltimore. That one's a really tough one. I wanted to go with the over, but ultimately another pass. Bubik against Rasmussen. Heavy lean to Tampa Bay, first 5 minus a half for me, but ultimately stayed off as well. White Sox, Guardians, lean to the Guardians money line. Obviously, it's not a very good price. You would have to parlay it with something else. Didn't get to anything there. Reds and Pirates. I want to take the Pirates. The Pirates are a lean for me right now. Dunn has got hit in both of his games so far. I think the Pirates can get some hits off him. So maybe taking a look at the Pirates here, but probably not. So just a lean for me. Astros, Braves, Javier against Strider. This is going to be a good game to watch, I think. This Braves team is hot right now. They are hot, and I do think they get another win here against Houston, but I did not pull the trigger on it. Giants and Rockies, Cobb against Feltner. Another pass. It's in Coors Field, so I know a lot of people like to take unders. I can't do that in this situation. Just my opinion. Nationals, Padres. Padres are getting very close to joining the Mets on my team who must not be named list because the Padres have just been extremely disappointing.
I'll bet against them.
Yeah, I could do that, but they do have games where they do obviously smash teams. So ultimately a pass for me. Josiah Gray against Westgrove. I'm not really getting involved. And then Marlins, Dodgers. We don't have an announced pitcher for the Dodgers. So
Dustin May.
Oh, Dustin May. Okay. Against Braxton Garrett. Ultimately, another pass for me. I like the games that I'm on. I'm not going to force anything after a huge night. Ryan, what do you think here? Last pitch, the rest of baseball.
Yeah, I've got a handful of other MLB picks. The first one is Angels and Tigers. And at the early part of the season, Reed Detmers was on the list of these least profitable pitchers, and he's made this turnaround, and now he's turned into one of the more reliable pitchers in the league. And I want to back him in some capacity. And the angle that I'm looking at is the Angels' first 5 run line at minus 130. I also like this Brewers Cubs game today. Freddie Peralta and Marcus Stroman, and there are 2 bets that I like in this. One. The Cubs are hot, right? They've won 4 straight and 7 out of the last 9. The Brewers' bats are really cold, number 30 in the league over the last 15 games for batting average. Freddie Peralta's numbers are somewhat concerning. So the play for me is both on the Cubs money line, which is a plus money, and also the Cubs team total over 4.5. So I think they win this, and I think they win this by more than 4 runs. I'm also looking at the Red Sox-Orioles game, and I like the over for this game, but I'm actually looking at the Boston team total over 4.5. I'm a little bit, I don't like either pitcher, but I'm a little bit alarmed by this first start of Michael Wacha. He was basically unhittable in his first start. So I'm a little bit concerned about the full game over, but I'm looking at the Red Sox team total over 4.5. Also, the Orioles have been put through the ringer. They had to go to Boston to play a makeup game last weekend. They had to play a rainout makeup game midweek against the Cubs. Then tomorrow they have to go to Williamsport, PA to play a Sunday night game. So they've got quite a heavy week for them. Another play I'm looking at is Rays over the Royals. I just think this is a huge pitching mismatch with Rasmussen and Bubic. Rasmussen had a perfect game. I think in maybe in the 8th inning it got broken up, or through the 8th inning it was broken up. So even though the Rays don't have the best bats, I think there's enough of disparity that the run line of the Rays is a play here. So I'm on the Tampa Bay run line, and that's my best bet for the week. This Guardians White Sox game is really interesting. I think it's really Cleveland's got an injury to their catcher. Eloy Jimenez for the White Sox got injured last night, so keep an eye on a couple injuries for this game. But I'm staying off, but I think it's probably fairly priced. I do like this Reds Pirates game over because I think there's just some awful pitching, and even though neither of these teams is good offensively, Justin Dunn and Tyler Beatty are going to throw some meaty balls to hit. And there's just such poor quality pitching that basically I think the over is an obvious play here. And I think it's a really attainable 8.5. I believe, and yes, and the last play for me is the Braves. I want to be on the Braves in some capacity. I think there is a pitching mismatch here. They are getting priced up a little bit, so a play that I'm looking at is like a split bet, so a -1 on the Braves, so split half on the run line and half on the money line. I want to back this white hot team, and Spencer Strider's not going to lose today. That's my feeling. And those are my plays.
All right, Nick, the rest of the baseball slate. What do you think?
Yeah, let's get up my numbers real quick because I also referenced the FanGraph projected line as well with all these games. Mets and Phillies. Wow, this line's dropped the first game of the doubleheader. This was up at 156 earlier in the day. It's now down to 139. This is one of the 5 teams that does have implied line value. I did not touch it though because I don't like the way that this line has been sinking. I'm assuming tons of Mets money coming in, which makes sense. The Mets are a really hot team right now, and they're still competing with, or they're trying to hold off the Braves. It's crazy that this team's 34 games over 500 and only has a 3.5 game lead. But I don't have anything in that game. I want to bet the Mets. The line value according to FanGraphs is on the Phillies and Wheeler this first game. We already touched on the Blue Jays. Angels and Tigers. This is one last night. I was anticipating betting one side, and I ended up betting a total instead. I liked Reed Detmers, but just the market wasn't moving the right way with that game. It kind of gave me a weird feeling with the Angels. And according to FanGraphs, full line value with the Detroit Tigers in this game, as they had the Angels projected around -115. I end up getting to the first 5 under in this game. For that spot. Milwaukee and Chicago, I passed, and there's no line value on either side. Projected line value -112 for the Brewers, and they're -120, +110 the other side. No value there. Baltimore and Boston. Baltimore is a projected -102 for this game. They're +110. I did end up getting involved here with the Orioles and Kyle Bradish. Bradish has been undefeated since returning from AAA after he was sent down for about a month after a rough start to the year. I'm going to look to back Kyle Bradish here. I got it at 111. It's 110 now. And there's a decent line value with them. Rays and Royals. I passed on this game. The implied line was -196. It's -185 on my book. So about 10 cents of line value with the Tampa Bay Rays at -185. I would look towards maybe a run line with them. Drew Rasmussen. The only thing that really concerns me with Rasmussen is he's coming in off of that 8 innings of perfect game. So that's usually a bet against spot for me. So I end up just staying completely off in this game. White Sox and Guardians. I end up getting to the White Sox in the first 5 at +150. The projected line for this game was -150, +165 full game. So this is almost a full line value spot on the White Sox. It's about 1 cent off from being that 15-cent barrier for that full line value. But there is a value with the White Sox, I believe, in today's game. I think that the Guardians are a little overpriced here. Reds and Pirates, I passed on the game. The implied line is a 126 for the Pirates. So Slight value on the Reds, about 5 cents. No play for me there. Pass on the we touched on the Rangers game. Pass on there. Pass on game 2 of the doubleheader. Projected line was Mets minus 101, so slight value with the Phillies in that game. We touched on the Athletics game. I like the Athletics. Astros and Braves. This line has moved a little bit higher. The projected line for this game was Atlanta minus 140, which was what it was this morning when we touched on it on my show. It's now up to minus 155, so a slight 3 cents of value here with the Astros in this game. I end up getting to the first 5 under 4. I like both these pitchers. Pass on the we already touched on the Cardinals game, but that's a pass. Pass on the Giants game. The projected line for that one was Giants minus 156. And we're seeing 1 cent of value on the Rockies at 157 on my book. So pass there. I'll touch on that Nationals game last. Miami and LA. I passed on that one. The projected line was minus 260. It's minus 275 and plus 245 the other way. It's Dustin May. I don't know what to expect from Dustin May in his first start back. This is a pass for me. And to end the slate, San Diego and Washington. There's no way the San Diego Padres lose again, right? Yeah, give me one of the bigger home road splits in baseball with positive towards the road games. Josiah Gray has only lost 1 road game this year, and his ERA is about 3 runs better on the road than it is at home. I took the Nationals' first 5 in full game money lines, plus 230 and plus 253. There is implied line value with the Washington Nationals, as the Fangraphs have them projected as plus 225. You can get them for plus 223 or plus 253, which is about 28 cents a line value here. No way the Padres lose another game, right? I think the Padres are going to be a team where you can look and blindly bet against them the rest of the season, and you'll come up on top. I truly believe that if you fade the Padres every single game the rest of the season, you will be profitable. So Nationals first 5 full game money line for me.
I also think that if you cap the Padres, you have to consider their ugly uniforms. If they wear those ugly uniforms they wore last night, you have to consider that in your handicap.
Totally.
Looking at that game, actually, and I won't bring the odds up because I already brought down the screen to bring up the best bet sheet. But you can get Washington plus 1.5 in the first 5 for minus 115.
Oh, in the first 5.
Yeah. Plus 1.5, minus 115. Other spots, it's minus 138, minus 133. But you can get it for minus 115 at FanDuel, minus
plus
125
for the half. For the half a run.
Yeah, 1.5. I think that's
not a bad look. And the 2.5 is probably not a bad look either for the full game.
Yeah. I haven't pulled the trigger. It is Washington, but hey.
Bet the first 5 money line with me. Let's run it.
I don't know about money line, but that plus 1.5 is definitely catching my eye. We will go on to, I know it's not plus money, but a full run and a half makes it a lot easier to cash there. We'll go on to the best bet segment, and we'll start with over under. Quite a few totals for me today, so I had to make my choice. St. Louis team total over 4.5. I think they get to Bumgarner in this one. Nick, you are going with the Angels in Detroit, first 5 under 4. Tim is going to the WNBA and taking Phoenix and Las Vegas under 166.5. And Dave is going with Kansas City, Tampa Bay, first 5 under 4. Ryan, is there a total that you like today?
Yes, Reds Pirates over 8.5. I'm just checking right now to see if that line is still the same. Yeah, it's juiced. It's minus 127, but it's still at 8.5.
All right. We'll move on to dog of the day. Only on one dog. It's not shocking who my dog of the day is going to be, but it is what it is. Tim agrees with me. We're both on the Toronto Blue Jays as our dogs of the day. Nick, you are taking the Baltimore Orioles. And Dave is going with the Arizona Diamondbacks here.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ryan, what do you think here for dog of the day?
Cubs at plus 111.
All right. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking, Nick, about your stat yesterday about St. Louis is really bad in game 1,
Yeah,
but then they
proved that
usually
wrong
do in
last
game
night.
2. I'm kind of worried that we might see that reverse because they're really good in game 1. They might not be so good in game 2. But we'll have to see. This team is hot, so that's why I'm kind of sticking with them. Team total wise, best bets, best parlay pieces for me. I have Vladdy to get a hit as my parlay piece. I wouldn't put a plus 460 in a parlay. That's just me. But if you did want to parlay Vladdy home run with something, that's going to be a nice plus money. But I just put to get a hit here. Nick, you are going with Calgary St. Peters on the money line. Tim is going to take the Seattle Mariners on the money line. And Dave is going to go to the NFL. He cashed his Houston Texans yesterday. And now he's going to take another bum in the Jacksonville Jaguars. Hoping to cash that one as well. Best of luck, Dave. I'm on the first 5, so let's cash it.
What about Ryan's pick?
Oh,
wow, you totally forgot about him. You see that, Ryan? I got you, man.
Wow, I'm sorry, Ryan. I apologize.
No
what do you think here? I've done that a couple times in the past too. Poor occupancy. I used to do that too.
Oh man.
What do you think here, Parlay Piece?
Guardians money line, which is about 189, I think, or something like that.
All right. Yeah, I was looking to parlay that with something, but I haven't got to it yet. Probably won't because I already have a big slate as it is. It's looking like going to best bet. Me and Dave are on the same one here, and that's Toronto team total over 3. There's no way their team total should be at 3 in this one. Minus 120. I got it for minus 115. I'd still take it minus 120. So we're both on that. Tim is taking the Toronto Blue Jays minus 1.5 at plus 250. And Nick, you are taking the Nationals first 5 money line at plus 230. And Ryan, you said Tampa Bay minus 1.5, right?
Yes, and that's about a plus 115.
Right. Right. Tampa Bay Rays on minus 1.5. And that is today's show. 3 more days, and we start the hockey season preview shows. We will be starting with the Anaheim Ducks, working our way through the Pacific Division. We'll go into the Metropolitan Division, back to the Central, and finish off with the Atlantic Division. So make sure to tune into those shows. It'll be nice to go in depth on certain teams, and we'll have different guests on different shows. So make sure to tune into that. Best of luck to everybody on your Saturday bets. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the content, smash the like button. We appreciate all the support, and we'll see you again tomorrow, same time, noon, for another episode. Getting well with Terry and friends. Best of luck today, guys.